Okay. So today's focus is evaluating impact. So we want to have a look at institutional impact. And throughout this session, we have been navigating the InCites platform, utilizing the predefined reports tab, which is one of the tiles that are available just as you log on to the platform. So I'm going to do the same thing again. So you could click on the predefined reports on the middle tile, or you can use the tabs right at the top to go to reports. So in this case, I'm going to just click on organization report, and it will direct me to where I'll be able to select my organization. And we've been using UNISA as an example. And then, so the predefined date range is 2020 to 2024. And then we also include include emerging sources citation index as part of our data evaluation subset. So that is based on the Web of Science data, but including the emerging sources citation index. We have had a chat, or we have had sessions with regards to some of the aspects of the tiles that are available here. But to just delve into the topic for today, which is looking at institutional impact. So when looking at impact, we've got two ways in which we could evaluate our institutional impact. Now, the first one will be looking at the time cited. So the time cited, this is the raw data looking at the number of times a specific author has been cited, and that is affiliated obviously with our institution, or the number of times certain pieces of work have been cited. Now, looking at impact factor, we're looking at the overall journal utilization. So the impact of that field, or the impact which our institution has in that field. So we're looking at general publication. So this is raw data, and this is publications. And another aspect to take into consideration when we consider the citation impact is the fact that in this scenario, which is the category normalized citation impact factor, we're looking at a normalization process that is taking place to the raw data. So normalization essentially means taking different sections of research areas, or different research areas, putting them into one bowl and arriving at a measurement that we need to, that we are going to utilize to compare. Whereas when we look at citation, we're looking at the raw data at an author level. And when we look at impact, we're looking at a publication level, as well as multiple subject areas. So I'm going to start with just delving into a little bit more data on time cited. And time cited needs to be interpreted exactly as head. So this is raw data on the number of times specific authors have been cited. Now, to put it into context again, we can take one step back, which is, let's look at the output, right? So before we arrive at whether what was the level of citation received, we can also look at what is the number of documents that we are comparing. So, so this is number of science Web of Science documents, and this is we're looking at the year, and then we're looking at the number of documents cited, and or number of documents produced or published. And then in this side, we're looking at the citation, which relative to those number of documents which have been produced. So I'm gonna just delve into time cited and just navigate a little bit on that view. So the default landing page is going to be a view where I am looking at the data according to the number of documents and the number of citations received and the percentile. Okay, so I can delve into another aspect where I look at organizations that collaborate with this entity, or I can even look at the same data, but based on research areas or publication sources. So I've got a couple of ways in which I could look at that data. At this point, I don't want to do that because I'm just purely looking at the number of documents cited. And then I can delve into a further detail on those number of documents cited, and that will give me the metadata of the document. So I will have the article title, I will have the author, the journal, the research area where that particular author publishes in. And then I also have another option of just delving into more research areas of where the citation is taking place, and then I can view more data there. But at this point, I want to leave it at this level. Okay, so this is the table view of time cited. So looking at time cited, we essentially saying within this period, and again 2020, 2022, 2020 to 2024, you can see right there on the level of data that I'm looking at. This is the number of documents that have been produced by this institution, and this is the number of citations which those documents have received. I could also do a visual depiction of the same data. Now, the visual depiction will take me to a similar tile that I had viewed previously. So the default when you click on view data was on the table view, and then if you wanted to view the visualization, you could just click on visual, and then on the visual data, you could also look at downloading that image, either in a JPEG format. And when you click on download, it will actually show you, it will download that particular visualization. And it will also list for you right at the bottom what were the indicators which you selected. So at the bottom, I can always refer back to what is it that I'm interpreting, what is the visualization showing. So I can see that, okay, I had selected the organization name. I also had Web of Science data, and then I am looking at the times cited. Okay, so that is available. There's a little icon on the top left-hand side where when you hover your mouse over it, it will give you an option to be able to look at the visualization and download it. So this is the time cited. Okay, so I also have an option while I'm here to change the data point to reflect normalized category, normalized citation. So this is another way of navigating to this. So I could have either clicked on the tile from where I landed, or I could navigate from this point. And at this point, I'm going to default to the visualization as well. So this is the visualization, which the same number of documents that I showed you earlier in terms of the number of documents produced by this institution. And this is the impact which the body of work has had over the period. Now, the impact, normalized citation impact, anything above 1 is perceived to be above average, okay, within different fields that are normalized. So at this point, remember, we're using normalized citation impact, and normalization basically is a process where we try and compare multiple fields, but so that we can arrive at a conclusion or at some level of comparing, then we normalize. So we compare likes with likes, and then we are able to arrive at an evaluation. So at this point, I can see that from 2020, just looking at the number of years, the impact of the number of papers has been just under below average. And then just from 2022, 2023, it had peaked to almost, currently we are almost 1.5 times above average. So you can see that the impact has gone high quite significantly. And we could interpret this incline or accredit the incline to many factors. And this has to do with journal selection. So we can look at, okay, what is the comparison of the type of journals we've been publishing in between these 3 years, from 2020 to 2021, and from 2022 to 2024. What has changed? Have we changed the journals that we're publishing in? Are we publishing in more high impact journals, and thus our normalized category impact factor has gone up, right? So that is something, a factor that we could consider. Another factor to take into consideration is the open access publications, right? So obviously, impact is weighed on the basis of the if your work is available to be seen by like-minded readers, therefore its impact will also go higher because it basically means it's being referenced a bit more in books and journals, etc. So we could look at even the adoption of open access as well. So is it because the type of work that we're publishing in or the type of work that we are producing is now being available to be seen and consumed more? And we could also look at the type of research areas that we are delving into. So specifically for UNISA as a use case scenario, we know that they've done quite a lot of work in encouraging catalytic niche areas. So that could also, expose their work to be more impactful within different fields. And that can be interpreted also as part of what drives impact within an institution. Now, this line that you're seeing just below is the global. So we could also add and say, okay, we want to be able to see the global baseline. So I'm just going to click on global baseline. Okay, so you could see that, okay, the global baseline over the same period, which is the gray dotted line, is is mapped around just below 1, right? So you can see this is the global baseline in terms of category normalized citation impact. So for this institution, this is how we were faring against the global baseline. Okay, so as you can see again that between 2022 and 2024, we actually have been going way past the global baseline. And on the other years, in 2021, we were actually just below the global baseline. And then in 2020, we were just above the global baseline. So you can actually add more. So in terms of impact, you could do more comparisons to also look at certain institutions. So if you are also a distance learning institution, you could add institutions that you want to compare with. If you want to do also your domestic comparisons, or you want to do certain research area comparisons, right? So what we're looking at now is just globally the number of documents produced and the impact of those documents. We could take it a little bit further and just look at research areas as well. So at this point, I can delve into research areas and say, okay, I want to look at sustainable development goals, which I can also select that specific schema, or I could look at citation topics, meaning earlier I showed you the time cited, and then I can delve into the citation topics. So that citation topics will give me different levels of citation topics. So let's say, for example, within physics, I could look at what are the other areas within physics which are actually driving the impact factor. So you can look at that level of citation topic. So at this point, I'm going to select citation topics, and I can select the micro, the meso, the macro level as well. So I'm going to select macro and say include documents with which don't have a specific site topics assigned to it. So at this point, I'm going to look at a table format because that's where I'll be able to see the value. So at this point, I can then just delve a little bit further by clicking on my institutional name. So let me just go one back. I'm just going to go one back. So I could go a little bit further, and then just on my citation topic, so I'm going to need to select that again. So let's go to research areas. and then I will select citation topic, and let me select the micro level and update results. Okay. So at the micro level, oh, this was indeed in any case at the micro level, so I can just dive a little bit further. I actually wanted to just click on the citation topics themselves. Okay, then go into the research areas. Yes, that's where I wanted to go, the research area. Okay. Now I can be able to see in terms of the research areas, what are the most cited research areas. So again, previously in the previous slide, we looked at the number of citations generally received. And now we're actually looking at the research areas that are driving that data that we saw earlier. So we can see that one of the most cited topics within these results is actually environmental sciences. And then we can delve a little bit further to see that, okay, on environmental sciences, what are the meso or citation, the macro or the meso citation level topics, and then that will be able to give us more data on what are the topics that are driving that specific data. Okay. And yeah, that's it, colleagues. That's what we had prepared for you. So just to recap, we go to reports, you select organization, and when you land on organization, you've got two options. You've got an option of going to time cited, which will give you the raw data of how many times specific authors and cited in a topic. And then you can also do the category normalized citation impacts, which will compare different journals, publications. And then to view data a little bit further, you can click on view data. It will default you to a table view, and you can change that to a visualization. And then the visualization will give you the citation impact. You can change that to time cited as well. In order for you to download the data, you can hover the mouse, download the the actual image with the data points that you want to see. And if you want to view more topic areas or subject areas, you can go back to table view, and then you can select research areas, and then you can click on go, and this will show you the research areas in a table format. In a table format, you can change that research area to a visualization as well. And let's just take it back to category normalized impact. And then you can be able to see category normalized impact. You can add different types of visualization. This is in a tree map. We can make it in a bar graph. And it's taking a while to load. And you can be able to see more research areas, and you can also make it add more data. You can add up to 25, and then you'll be able to see the impact factors. Anything below 1 is perceived to be below global average, and anything below average in those specific fields, and anything above 1 is above average. Okay. And that's what we had prepared for you for today. Thank you very much, Nadia. Do we have any questions?